After the preconditions, let's start the bare metal deployment. First is to create the DHA file for deployment. The DHA file is used to define the scenario and nodes information in bare metal deployment. There are some samples under the Compass101 BareMetalDeployment directory. Let's come into that directory and have a look. Here they are. All the DHA files are started with OS. Here I'm going to use the no-SDN no-feature DHA file, so copy it to the installation directory. And then come back. You can see it here now. Then edit this DHA file. First place you need to modify is the IPMI user and IPMI version. You need to configure them according to yourself. Currently, IPMI 1.0 and IPMI 2.0 are available. Next place is the host information. For example, host 1 here. The name is host name after installation. And the MAC here is the MAC address of PAXINIC of your hosts. For example, host 1. And the MAC address of ETH1 here is the external NIC MAC address. Then the IPMI IP of your host and the IPMI password. The rules here are used to define the components deployed on the host. For example, host 1 here. We will deploy controller-related components and HA and self-admin self-monitor to the host 1. After that is host 2, host 3, host 4, host 5. They should be configured as the same way as host 1. All of the information you need to configure according to your environment. Okay, save and quit. Next thing is to configure the network YAML. There are some network configuration samples in the Compass101 repository. They are located in the Compass101 BareMetalDeployment directory. Let's come into it. You can see there are 3 network YAML files here. First one is a generic one, and the second is used for open control scenario. The third one is used for honest scenario. In this video, I will use the generic one and then copy it to the installation directory. Write the reference to it. Come back and edit it. In this file, what you need to care about are these places. First is the VLAN tag. You need to configure them, avoid using the existing VLAN tags in your environment. And the next place is external IP setting. The IP range of external here is used for configuring the host 1 to 5. Those are 3 control nodes and 2 computer nodes of OpenStack. You need to configure them according to your external network. This file is totally satisfying my environment, so I don't need to change anything here. Next place is the public VIP. The public VIP is used for public URLs of OpenStack services and OpenStack dashboard. Choose one IP from your external network and configure it here. Last place is at the bottom. Those are external gateway and floating IP range. The floating IP is used for configuring the instances launched by OpenStack. Also, you need to configure them according to your external network. After all the configurations, let's create a run script. Add bin bash at the beginning. Then cd Compass101 Next, export the operating system version you want to use. Here, I'm going to use Ubuntu Xenio. Next is export the OpenStack version you want to use. Here, I'm going to use OpenStack Newton. Next is export the DHA file we configured before. It's located in the installation directory. Next, export the network YAML we configured before. It's also located in the Compass101 directory. Next, export the install nick of JAM-host. It's usually ETH1. Next is export the URL of the ISO we downloaded before. We put it under the installation directory. If you want an offline deployment, you need to export the JH package URL. It is used to prepare the Java host. Here I'm not running an offline deployment, so I comment it here. At last, add the deploy command. Save and quit. Okay, then change mode. After that, run the run shell to execute the deploy. It will take a long time to deploy the cluster. For my environment, it's about an hour. Okay, installation complete. You can get the OpenStack information here, for example, dashboard URL, user password, Compass101 virtual machine IP, user password, and OpenRC path.